Hello, welcome to Film Dweeb Luminati exclusive member video, which is a review. Today's film that I'm talking about is something that you can watch on Shudder. It's called Little Bites, and it came out in 2024, and it's a very low budget, claustrophobic horror thriller. And by claustrophobic, it's all self-contained in one house for about 95% of the movie. The basic premise is a single mother, a young single mother, who has a monster in her basement. So that fear we all had as kids, she's got it for real. And the monster's name is Aguiar. And there's no backstory. It's never explained why this monster is in her basement. And she goes down occasionally when he summons her with a bell, and she lets him feed off of her blood by biting. He bites her arm and he sucks her blood. And later she reveals that there's little bite marks all over her body. And what we get from the story is that she has a young daughter who's living with her mom currently. Her mom are arguing on the phone. And this creature, Aguiar, he keeps asking for her little girl. The basic gist of what's going on is that in order to save her little girl from this monster, she's sacrificing herself by letting it feed on her. The only problem is she keeps the little girl away, and the mom's asking what's going on. She sees a friend, and the friend thinks she's on drugs. And then so Child Protective Services comes over, and they keep asking, "Where's your little girl?" And she just avoids the issue and such. She realizes her body may not be able to survive this relationship. So she tells Aguiar that, "I need to find someone else that you can feed on." So there's a humorous sequence where she finds this guy, this lonely guy, invites him over, and it doesn't work out very well, let's just say that. She eventually gets her daughter, and she explains to her daughter, "There's an actual monster in the basement, and I'm going to protect you from him." And I don't want to give away the ending or anything like that, but I'll just talk about what I think about it. And I liked it. It's very low budget, and it looks that way. And for the most part, it really works because it's a nice looking house. It's lit very nicely, and it's shot fairly well. But there are times it does look low budget. But I watched it on one TV and it didn't look good, but yet I checked it on my computer and it looked way better. Sometimes when the filmmakers, they export their digital files and they encode it as to send off to Shudder or whatever streamer, sometimes that encoding doesn't work very well. So the film may look a lot better than what I've seen, but I think maybe the encoding, I was getting a lot of digital noise when I was watching it, which was a little distracting. But otherwise, it's well done in terms of directing. The script is really good. The acting, I really liked. The monster is an actor named John Sklaroff. I don't think I've seen him in anything. And he is really creepy, like really creepy. This is one of the creepiest monsters I've seen on screen in a while, and the job he did was great. He speaks in a European kind of English accent, and the makeup job they did on him was great because most of the scenes he's just sitting in this room and you can barely make out any details. So they keep him in darkness and little snippets, like you'll see his eye and it's completely red and it looks real. His eye looks really fucked up. And so the makeup job is really well done. The main actor, Chrissy Fox, she does a great job. I think she's been in a few other films, low budget horror. I think it's some TV series. And Chaz Bono is the lonely guy that gets lured into this trap. And Barbara Crampton, who's a classic horror actor who goes way back. She was in The Reanimator, Stuart Gordon's classic. And she's been in some of Rob Zombie's films, I believe. But speaking of Rob Zombie, when I first queued up the movie and it said directed by Spider One. I was like, oh God, is this some director who does elevated horror and they gave themselves this pretentious name? No, this is the brother of Rob Zombie. His real name escapes me, but he was the singer in a band you may have heard of called Power Man 5000. They were around in the 90s and they really did a lot of albums. I've never got into them, but I can see in the family that there's this common theme going on where you start a rock band and then you start making movies with your wife. But this is nothing like a Rob Zombie film. This is a very quiet, subtle horror film that's effectively creepy, whereas Rob Zombie is full balls to the wall, just like in your face. Whereas this guy, he's doing something different than Rob Zombie. But the only gripes I have about this, like I said, was some of the technical issues in terms of the video compression, and the makeup was really good. But there was a couple of scenes, they did these kind of flash cuts where suddenly you can see Aguiar in more detail, where he like looks and there's more light on him. And in those scenes, it didn't look so much like makeup. It looked like he had a mask on, like it was inconsistent. It could have been that through the whole movie, you never see him completely, like he's always in shadow. I think they could have kept it like that. And there's even some scenes where he's in the back and he's out of focus. And it just looks really creepy. And the actor's performance really makes it. So I would recommend this movie. It's a bit of a slow burn. I would say the theme of this is, when you think about it throughout history in terms of horror, not just movies, but even back through literature and such, horror is a woman's genre. It belongs to the female, it seems. And some of the greatest ones have been all about centered around, I guess, what it means to be a woman. I wouldn't know. The character, the main character, she's arguing with her mother and she's trying to protect her daughter as a single mother herself. And she's weak because she's giving herself to this monster. And I think the theme is something about parenting in general, being a single mom, and she's doing anything she can to protect her kid. And in doing so, she repairs her relationship with her mom and her kid by overcoming this literal demon that's in her basement. Like I said, I don't want to give it away. You'll have to see how she does it. And that's what I got out of it. And I looked up online to see what other people thought, and they came up with addiction, which could be the case as well. But yeah, it's worth a watch. Out of 10, because of production quality, I would give it a 6 out of 10. But it is a good, like, it's well directed, well written. The scenes between Aguiar and the main character, like, there's really good dialogue. And I was really impressed with that. But performance of John Sklaroff is probably one of the best horror film performances I've seen in a while. Anyways, thanks for watching. Check it out on Shudder. Keep tuning in. Thanks for supporting me and watching the films and buying a membership. And until next time, Dweeb out.